We're just now getting in that Antifa, the radical left organization, which has burnt down entire city blocks, which, according to its own posts on its own websites and their after action report on the killing, the assassination of Charlie Kirk by an individual who has been in Antifa Discord servers that are currently being investigated by the FBI in connection with that assassination, the group that has admitted to beating women and children at events in California, the group that has participated in numerous assaults and attempted murders of law enforcement officers, immigration customs enforcement officials, and a number of thwarted and successful terror attacks. Antifa has been officially designated by the Office of the President of the United States and the Secretary of State as a terror organization, according to a post from President Trump just before 8:30 p.m. Eastern on Wednesday. Quote, "I am pleased to inform our many USA patriots that I am designating Antifa, a sick, dangerous, radical left disaster, as a major terrorist organization. I will also be strongly recommending that those funding Antifa be thoroughly investigated in accordance with the highest legal standards and practices. Thank you for your attention to this matter," end quote. This is exactly what I voted for. This right here, ending illegal immigration, ending crime in America's biggest cities, and removing the precious sheltered status of Antifa and the left-wing NGOs that fund it. That is exactly what I voted for.
My people of this country, and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough, come stand with us, take USA back. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American flags. American flags. American flags. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American flags.
I ain't never gonna pretend that I give a damn. Anybody who's offended, come get it, we throwing hands. Anybody not trying to make America great again, you a punk, you a clown, better know where I stand. I'm the white boy with the middle fingers in the air, dog.
We don't give a what.
100 white boys gonna hold me down anywhere, dog.
We think that you suck.
My patriots the craziest, they ain't afraid of breaking fists on faces. If you really want a taste of this, no safety tip, just aim the stick and spray the clip. I pray you miss, cause if you don't, they gon' go wacko. Automatic gun smoke like tobacco. Never hit a lady, but it's pretty hard to tell if you're a girl or a they, them, there's these, that, those. I ain't never gonna take a knee for the anthem, smack them. I don't give a damn, can't stand them. Gang full of randoms, fan with a handgun, run up in your mansion, leave it all abandoned. I was raised to be brave, to the grave, United States. We love the country that they've been corrupting, go woke and go broker if you ain't awake.
My people of this country, and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough, come stand with us, take USA back. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American flags. American flags. American flags. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American
Got that
flags.
AKA all Draco, leave you stankin', break your ankles. I'm not hearing what you saying, hit the pavement, now you seeing angels. It get dangerous, go against the patriots, got all the bangers. Take a look inside my closet, you gon' see way more than hangers. Hammers like I do construction, ammo, I'ma shoot at something. Why you think we own these guns so we could just go do some hunting? You must not pay close attention, government, they want division. Only treason if you lose, I guarantee we come out winning. Let my flag fly high like eagles, I would die for all my people. You can't change me with procedures, I'm about freedom, you about evil. Leave you hanging from the ceiling like chandeliers in cathedrals. Never have the safety on, and when we run out, we just reload.
My people of this country, and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough, come stand with us, take USA back. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American flags. American flags. American flags. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American flags. Every time we pull up, you see stars, you see stripes, you see flags on the cars and the trucks and the bikes. Every time we pull up, we go hard, we outside, we got flags on our arms that are tatted there for life.
Every time we pull up, we don't care if you mad. We cherish this land, the haters can't get buried in rags. They set fire to old glory, turning fabric to ash.
But every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American flags.
All right, you guys. So it is currently 3:30 in the morning, and what a day. I did a recording with Vicky Joy Anderson, which I will be uploading very soon in regards to MK Ultra, the Black Awakening, assets being activated, parallels between Larry's story and mine, guarding ourselves with spiritual warfare, choosing God. And it was such a good podcast. It was such a good podcast. And then I did an episode of These People Are Idiots with Cyprian, where actually one of the last messages or last discussions that we had was about what I believe to be the dangers of Antifa being labeled as a domestic terrorist organization. Not 3 hours after that conversation, all this is happening. So, I just want to say some things. I've been really struggling with this podcast because of how isolated I felt, how alone I felt. People have called me crazy, conspiratorial, too political, but I've just been sitting here like, people are going to get killed, a war is going to begin, things are going to get dark, things are going to get bloody. You don't understand these people like I do. And I've been really struggling with continuing the channel because I don't know, given a lot of this mind programming, these psychedelic experiences, these things that I've experienced on a more spiritual level, when the demons are guiding me and when God is guiding me. So I've been praying for the last 2 weeks, like, God, give me a sign, give me something that I know is only from you, that what I am doing is right. And if I need to continue, that I need to continue. To which God said, here's an anti-fascist named Tyler, and he's going to go kill somebody you respect, and it's going to happen a year almost to the date of the day that you began speaking out. And not only that, but what tonight proved was, after Vicky Joy Anderson, she just made me feel so good by the end of the podcast. And she helped me realize what I was doing was important. And the same with Cyprian. We stopped recording on These People Are Idiots. And he had a really good point. He's like, you need to refine some things for sure. You need to structure your message so more people can hear it. But he's like, but also you're better off with the podcast than you are without it. It's the best tool for dealing with your guilt. And he just told me, I think that you need to pursue this. Less direct, of course, but that, he helped just some of the thoughts in my head that I would just consider to be narcissistic. And, you're patting yourself on the back too hard and you're thinking about yourself too much. You need to absolve some of this. But I'm sitting back to the podcast. I'm like, no, this is one of the only times in my life I feel like I've done something right. So to the spirit of Charlie Kirk, and the fact that after these podcasts happened and I got these positive messages from two people I respect very much, and then all of a sudden I go to my emails and Julie Bailing, who I'd interviewed earlier in the podcast, said, oh yeah, and Andy knows watching your stuff now. And then I impulsively picked up the phone to try and reach out to Gabriel Nadalis again, the other former Antifa member, and I got a hold of him. And all of that happens within about 3 to 4 hours of Donald Trump declaring Antifa as a domestic terror organization. So a lot of things I've been calling for and wanting to happen kind of happened tonight. Granted, this is the second point I want to make. I think that the decision that President Trump is making is going to have more negative ramifications than positive. There are many terrorist sleeper cells, assets from foreign nations. There's so much criminality and evil and plotting and planning happening within the ranks of Antifa. But it's become so enmeshed with all these other criminal organizations that haven't been labeled domestic terror organizations. Chinese crime syndicates are operating in Portland. They use the fucking Shanghai tunnel system as underground human trafficking networks. They control the drug supply. Yet the Mexican cartels have been labeled terrorist, but what about the Chinese cartels? So what I really believe from the beginning is that Antifa needed to be labeled as a gang, because I believe that would give law enforcement a better angle of going in, being less, assuming less about these individuals. It would. I just feel like it would have been done a little more gracefully, because the reality is that Antifa has been infiltrated by drug trading networks, criminal syndicates, mafias. They're just pawns. These groups don't control Antifa, but they move them around the chessboard. And all of that needs to be exposed. There's a lot of theories right now that the reason that Donald Trump is activating a lot of the military in the United States is that he's actually going after the underground Masonic human trafficking tunnels. To which I would say, Portland, Shanghai tunnel system, get them. But I want that to be done properly, and I want it to be done without causing a panic, because what I think is going to happen as soon as this officially hits, if it hasn't already, it's going to be a spark for evolution. And when these protests and these riots flare up, chaos will once again be mitigated. Things will be prolonged, and the real people that need to be caught in the meantime are going to slip away into the shadows. I think that the move is just a little bit too heavy-handed, but I also say that as somebody who's recognizing it's going to happen regardless. So I'll speak what I believe on the issue. Maybe in time my perspective will change, but for the moment, I think this is a bad idea. That's just me. I actually wanted to write a note to Donald Trump whenever I went to go visit Cyprian in DC one of these days, and to talk to him about that specifically, because I believe that it plays into the hands of the powers that be. And I wouldn't want to see the Proud Boys labeled as a domestic terrorist organization either. Now, Charlie Kirk's killer, he should fry. Death penalty. Plain and simple, in my opinion. I can empathize, I can sympathize with these people to a certain extent, but once you decide to pull the trigger and take a life, at that point, you have solidified who you are, what you intended, and what you came to this planet to do. And if what you have done is that evil, dude, if Larry went and gunned up a police station tomorrow, I'd be like, I love him, but I'll empathize with him. But that's not good, and I'm not going to sit here and condone that. So as much as I want people to empathize and get into people's heads and realize the darker side, that's for the people who ain't pulled the trigger yet. That's who that's for. So I'm not going off with some sort of terrorist sympathies right now. He was a terrorist. Tyler was a terrorist. And these movements, they turn you into a monster. They really do. And it brainwashes people, but it really made me mad in the beginning of my leaving, because people say, well, Antifa is just an ideology. It's just a thought process. No, in the earlier stages, it was a little bit more organized, until they all started eating each other alive, until they started fracturing out and creating their own versions of Antifa, and all these versions of Antifa hated each other. And then everybody just kind of ran with their own idea of it, to where it's like, at this point, it kind of has become more a little ideological, which I feel is proven by a lot of the comments of just a bunch of random United States citizens on TikTok and just all these places, to where it's like, they're not even Antifa members, and they're saying Antifa shit. No tears for the fascist, death to the conservative clowns. It's just like shit you'd hear in a movie. They're playing up the dramaticism, and I'm just reading these comments, and I'm like, you've never been in a riot. You've never even been in a protest holding up a BLM sign. You're just an average, everyday person. Those people will be targeted, and that will create more confusion. And again, people will slip away. Big fish, big players. Because I think a lot of them have been depending on it, because Antifa is the one they were going to throw under the bus. These kids were never going to become the next politicians or the next soldier. Their job was to wreak havoc and then take the blame. So I don't think this is a good move. But everything being said, Triple B will continue. I've made that decision tonight, and I just want a floodgate of people speaking out, because there's a real danger right now. And now you have an entire group of people that are going to be called terrorists, and nobody knows about them. Nobody has heard testimonies from these people. Nobody has heard stories from these people. Nobody knows about their psychology, their background, what kinds of drugs they do, the friends they make. Everything's just going to all be based on assumption. And now, especially with this type of declaration, it's all going to become very inflammatory. And people are just going to be like, see, they're evil. I was right. And they're just going to launch into a series of assumptions without actually knowing who these individuals are. When in reality, I think a lot of these individuals would sell out the insurrection and would be willing to tell you where the money's going and who was willing to pay them off and the people that they spoke to. But they need to be given that chance. That's what I believe. So, for that, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they all should be labeled domestic terrorists. I know one thing for sure. I'm getting these fucking tattoos off my body ASAP, because talking to one of the last videos about how I get thrown in gang unit. Now I'm getting thrown in gang unit with terrorist tattoos. Oh, no, 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 no. And for what it's worth, if I get them lasered off, you guys will see it, because maybe these are some things that we need to promote a little bit more. Get rid of these old thoughts of revolution. Get rid of this old hateful mentality and just move on, or you're going to get wrapped up into some stupid shit, and you're gonna fucking get yourself involved into somebody else's civil war. Black people did not want war. Black Lives Matter was a faux revolution that weaponized minority groups and used them. This is a white man's jihad. White people do this shit. Black people don't do this shit. Mexicans don't do this shit. Italians don't do this shit. This is white people, young white guys like this guy. So take it from the horse's mouth. We wanted to murder, and we had hateful intentions for the people of the United States of America. We got our way. But maybe again, just more people got to talk out, man. That's all it is. That's all it is, in my eyes. And I want to say that, though I disagree with this decision by Donald Trump, I can at least say I respect it. Odd as that is. He did something. Man was forced into a bunker on May 29th while the White House lawn burned and riots broke out all across the city and the nation. The real January 6th. I don't blame him. This is completely warranted. But maybe there's alternative solutions we should be looking at first, just for the sake of peacekeeping. So, that's all I got on that front. We'll see how this goes, I guess. Guess you guys are stuck with me. All right. Peace and love. I'm sitting here watching all these conservatives have these conversations. Is this demons? Is this this? Is this this? And I can't even scream through the chats because YouTube won't let me drop a comment. But I'm just like, yes, it is. It is. Listen to me, please, for the love of God. I got a man here who says he got kidnapped by Grace. We're fucking doing this. We're fucking doing this. Will you please listen? YouTube's like, no. But not to get too crazy there, but your message really helped guide me, and not even just guide me through this crisis, but guide me back to God. And I think that's why God wanted me to start this channel, not only to share my message, but to get back to him.
Yep.
So the timing with all of this, having this happen at the end of the channel paired with Charlie Kirk, this is where God wanted me to be, and this is how I know demons aren't telling me to do this shit. So thank you.
Amen. Well, Tyler, I've very specifically chosen this word. This isn't just something that's falling off the tip of my tongue. You're a trailblazer, okay? And unfortunately, trailblazers are ahead of the curve, which means the audience isn't ready for the message yet. They don't have a category for some of the things you're talking about yet. So that means that even though you get the trophy for being in first place, you blazed the trail, you're not going to get the credit or the applause. It's trailblazers are lonely, misunderstood people. Okay. And it is my belief. You look at Abraham was a trailblazer. Moses was a trailblazer, right? And they get all the glory now after they're dead. But here's the deal. When God chooses trailblazers, he has to pick people who are resilient. They have to have thick-skinned. They have to have a passion for saying what's true, even if it's not popular. You might not ever get a silver play button, Tyler, but there are medals and awards awaiting you in eternity that are going to make those silver play buttons look like pieces of petrified crap. Okay. So you were chosen at this time with this message because God knows you have all of the character qualities to handle the hate, the disrespect, the ignorance, because you're not in this for a silver play button or to be an influencer or to get monetized. And neither am I, which is why if at the end of this, I've got someone like you saying, I watched your content and it brought me to God. Praise Jesus. That's better than 10 million silver play buttons. So we're on a mission. Babylon rewards its influencers in one way, here now immediately. And Jesus rewards the influencers in his kingdom much differently. And you just keep doing what you're called to do and trust that behind the veil, there's a million things going on as a result of your ministry that you might not ever even know is going on, but you're making war with the Babylonian kingdom. That's what you're doing. And so there's not going to be a lot of, Babylon's not going to reward people like you. You're not going to be getting the silver star and the medal of valor from Babylon, but you might be getting a bunch of purple hearts from the kingdom of God.
Thank you for that. That means a lot.
Mm.